3 hours before my wedding, I saw the woman I was about to marry walk out of a hotel room with her ex. They were laughing. Her hand lingered on his chest, and in that moment, my heart didn't race. It sank. My name is Mark. I'm 34, from Austin, Texas. After 3 years together, I thought I was building a future, a family, something real. But that moment split my life in two. I had a choice: walk away quietly and live branded a coward, or step up to the altar and let the truth drop in front of everyone, including her parents. I chose the second. Because sometimes, if you don't stand for your own dignity, no one will do it for you. Ashley was the kind of woman people wrote songs about, beautiful without trying, with this spark that made rooms lean in. We met at a barbecue 3 years ago. She had BBQ sauce on her chin, laughed at her own jokes, challenged me to beer pong within 10 minutes. I was hooked. It wasn't a movie romance, it was better, real. She was kind to waiters, loved dogs, corrected my grammar mid-sentence. I loved every piece of her. For 3 years, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Friends told me, "You're lucky, Mark, she's a keeper." And I believed it. We built a life, traveled, hosted dinners, planned holidays, and when she wanted a full wedding on Lake Travis, I made it happen. Resort buyout, 150 guests, jazz quartet, golden sunset over the water. It was everything she dreamed of. So when I started noticing the change, I blamed the stress. At first, it was subtle. She stopped showing me her texts. Her phone started facing down. Calls were taken in private. I told myself it was the wedding pressure. But my gut knew better. Ashley grew distant. Smiles felt practiced. Excuses piled up. Dress fittings, venue walkthroughs, late nights with friends. Always gone when I came home. Always back after I went to bed. I checked the receipts. Coffee shops she never mentioned. Gas stations far from anywhere she claimed to be. I still told myself not to jump to conclusions. But love doesn't feel like this. Love doesn't flinch when you glance at a phone. One night she came home late, hair up, no makeup, wearing that beige hoodie I loved. Said she was with Lauren, working on seating charts. She smiled and told me it was just a long night. But that smile, I knew it was hiding something. And 3 hours before our wedding, I found out exactly what. I nodded and let it go. Later that night, Ashley hopped in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I wasn't snooping. At least that's what I told myself, but when the screen lit up, a name flashed across it. Brad. Not a co-worker, not a vendor, not her brother, her ex. And the message? Just 5 words. Looking forward to tonight. My stomach turned. I stared at the glow of that screen, replaying every excuse she'd made the past few weeks. Ashley swore Brad was ancient history. Said they hadn't spoken in over a year. So why was he texting her like that? The shower kept running. I placed her phone back exactly where it was and sat there frozen. A few minutes later, she stepped out, towel-wrapped, humming like everything was normal. I asked carefully, "So, Brad texted you earlier, what's that about?" She didn't flinch. "Oh, he's going through some stuff. I've just been checking in. It's nothing." Smooth, too smooth, like she'd rehearsed it. From that night on, everything felt fake. She kept smiling, making coffee, humming around the kitchen, but I couldn't shake that message. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't guilty. She was calm. Too calm. And that's what scared me most. I started paying attention, watching closely. One night she said she was meeting Lauren again, finalizing table settings at some cafe downtown. I kissed her goodbye, then sat down and called my best friend Jake. "Still down for that drink tonight?" Truth. I had no intention of getting a drink. I had a plan. Half an hour later, Jake texted back, "You're not going to like this." Then came a blurry photo. Ashley sitting in a booth, not with Lauren, with Brad. His hand on her wrist, her smile brighter than it had been with me in weeks. I stared at the photo, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Then I called Jake. "Where are you?" "Roosevelt room, back left corner. They've been here a while." "Don't do anything," I said. "I just needed to know." That night, I paced the apartment alone. Ashley came home after midnight. "Lauren sends her love," she said, tossing her bag down like nothing had happened. I nodded, eyes fixed on her phone. She slid into bed, wrapped her arms around me, whispered, "I love you, baby." and I just stared at the ceiling. That's when it hit me. She wasn't sorry, because she didn't think I knew. She didn't think she had to be. That was the worst part, not the cheating, not even the lie. The arrogance of believing she could get away with it. That I'd smile at the altar, pose for the photos, say I do, and spend my life married to a stranger. Over the next few days, Ashley drifted further away. Not cold exactly, just gone. Her mind was always elsewhere. Her phone was always with her, glued to her hand, tucked under pillows, carried into bathrooms. The kind of behavior that looks normal if you're not looking for it. But now I was. And I knew this wasn't stress. This wasn't me being paranoid. This was betrayal, hiding in plain sight. So I waited, and I watched, because when the truth came out, I wanted more than suspicion. I wanted undeniable proof. She said Lauren's name like it was a magic word meant to erase doubt. But every time it left her lips, my gut twisted tighter. Lauren wasn't the problem, it was how Ashley said it. Too quick, too rehearsed. One evening she was rushing out, heels in hand. I asked where they were meeting. Her place, she said, like it was an afterthought. I smiled, told her, say hi for me. She froze, just for a beat, too short for anyone else to notice. But I noticed. Then she kissed my cheek and left. I stood there still smiling until the door shut. Then the smile dropped. I grabbed my phone. Jake answered on the second ring. Yo, what's up? She just left, said she's with Lauren. Think you can check the Roosevelt room again? You think she's with him? I don't think, Jake, I feel it. He sighed. All right, I'll text you. The TV was on, but I wasn't watching. Her playlist ran in the background. Some indie love song that made me sick. 10 minutes crawled by, then 15. My phone buzzed. Jake, they're here. I opened the photo. Same bar, same corner booth, same damn guy. Brad, he was leaning in close, too close. And Ashley, she wasn't pulling away. She wasn't checking the time. She was comfortable, relaxed. Her hand on his forearm, his eyes locked on hers like no one else existed. And me. I was sitting in the dark, watching it unfold through a screen like a spectator to my own life. I didn't cry, didn't shout, I just stared. Then I saved the photo. Evidence. Hours later, she came home all sunshine and small talk. She kissed me hello, kicked off her shoes, started rambling about how helpful Lauren had been. I played along. Sounds productive, I said, flipping channels, memorizing every word. She smiled, poured herself wine, sat beside me like everything was perfect. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't scrambling to cover her tracks. In her mind, there were no tracks. She thought she had it under control. That confidence was worse than the lie. It was cold. I started wondering how long it had been going on. Was Brad always lurking at the edges? Or had he slipped back in only recently, sliding into a space she never fully closed? Why now? Cold feet? Second thoughts? Or had this always been waiting to happen? Ashley used to call Brad a mistake, said he never respected her, never listened. But maybe part of her missed the chaos, the drama. Maybe I'd been too steady, too predictable. Was that it? Did I bore her into his arms? I didn't want to assume, so I started tracking it. Patterns. Thursdays, always Thursdays. She'd leave after dinner, spritz herself with a perfume she never wore for me, something darker, bolder, the kind of scent that lingers. I logged everything, dates, times, outfits, receipts, piece by piece, building my case. From the outside, we looked perfect. Brunch with my mum, smiling in engagement photos, laughing at stupid jokes. To everyone else, we were solid. But inside, I was unraveling. Lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe and wondering if she was dreaming of me. Or him. The worst part? I still loved her. Even with the suspicion, the distance, the lies. That's the trap. When you love someone enough, you start asking the wrong questions. Not, why would I want her to stay? But how do I make her stay? One night I couldn't take it anymore. She was brushing her hair in the bathroom, steam from the shower fogging the mirror. I leaned against the doorframe and asked quietly, "Are you still talking to Brad?" She paused just long enough, then turned to me with a flawless poker face. "He's going through stuff. I'm just trying to help, that's all." Same line, same tone, like I was the one being unreasonable for asking. I nodded. Okay, she smiled. You trust me, right? That was the moment I realized. She knew I didn't. She was testing me, measuring how much I'd swallow, how far I'd let her push. After she went to bed, I sat in silence. No TV, no scrolling, just me in the dark. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was something worse, disappointed. Disappointed in her, but more in myself. For waiting this long, for giving so many chances, for wanting things to be okay more than I wanted the truth. Because the truth was clear now. Ashley wasn't distant because of wedding stress. She wasn't texting Brad out of kindness. She was cheating. And the wedding? The biggest lie of all. I started doing what I never thought I'd do. I kept track. Where she said she was going, what time she left, when she came back. I didn't confront her, didn't accuse. I just watched. She said she was meeting Lauren at a coffee shop near the venue. Sounds good, I told her, like I wasn't quietly dying inside. Then I called Jake, gave him the name of the place, asked him to check. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. She's not here, not even close. Then another message. Guess where I am? Roosevelt Room. Of course. Another photo, clearer this time, no blur, no doubt. Ashley and Brad, corner booth, candlelight between them, her hand resting on his. Her head tilted back in laughter. Real laughter, the kind she hadn't given me in weeks. His eyes locked on hers like she belonged to him. I stared at that photo until something inside me cracked it in. Not rage, not shock, something deeper. Like the part of me that still believed in her just died. That night she came home glowing, full of stories about Lauren. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "She thinks the place looks amazing." I nodded. Cool. She kissed my forehead, poured herself a drink and acted like nothing had happened. Like she was performing a role, a stranger wearing Ashley's face. But I didn't break, didn't flinch. Because I had a new goal. I wasn't chasing explanations anymore, I was chasing proof. So I became what she never expected, quiet, calm, agreeable. I asked about flowers, nodded at guest lists, laughed at her bad jokes. And all the while I was taking notes, dates, times, perfume, outfits, every Lauren excuse logged like evidence in a trial. Thursdays, always Thursdays. After dinner. Same perfume, not the soft one she wore for me, but something bolder, darker. The kind of scent you wear when you want to be remembered. One night I followed her. She said she was having dinner with Lauren. 10 minutes later, I was in my car. She didn't drive to the restaurant. She drove downtown, straight to Brad's building. I parked across the street, headlights off. A few minutes later, she appeared. He met her at the door. They hugged, not polite, not friendly, but intimate. Then they disappeared inside together. I didn't move, didn't cry, didn't even breathe. I just sat there, parked at a gas station afterward, staring at nothing for 30 minutes. Her words echoing, "Don't worry, it's nothing." But I'd seen the truth, felt it, and for the first time I wasn't confused anymore. I thought about texting her. "Where are you? You okay?" Just to see if she'd lie again. But I didn't. I didn't want another performance. Instead, I called Jake. "She's at his place," I said, voice flat. "You sure?" "Yeah, I followed her." Silence. Then Jake whispered, "Mark, I'm sorry, man." There was nothing else to say. The next few days passed in autopilot. Rehearsal dinner, forced smiles for photos, shaking hands with relatives I didn't know. Ashley glowed like the happiest bride-to-be in the world. Her parents adored me. Her mom even pulled me aside, whispered, "She's lucky to have you, Mark." I smiled back and said, "I'm the lucky one." The biggest lie I'd ever told, and I felt it burn all the way down. At one point, my mom leaned over and asked, "Are you okay? You seem distracted." I looked her in the eye and said, "Just tired." That part wasn't a lie. I was exhausted. Exhausted, not from work, not from wedding stress, from pretending, from living two lives inside my own head. But I had to hold on a little longer. Something was building inside me. Not rage, not revenge, clarity. I was finally seeing Ashley for who she really was. And soon so would everyone else. That night she curled against me in bed, whispering she loved me, that she couldn't wait to marry me. I stared at the ceiling, counting the hours. I'd already made my decision. I wasn't going to end this quietly, not in private. She had made her choices in the dark. I was going to bring the truth into the light, at the altar, at the very moment she thought she'd won. The morning after the rehearsal dinner, I decided it was time. Ashley was in bed, scrolling her phone, like she hadn't shattered everything we built. I stood by the window, coffee in hand, then turned and said it straight. "Where were you the other night? And don't say Lauren, Jake saw you with Brad." Her fingers froze, panic flashed, then the mask slid back on. "What are you talking about?" she said, trying to sound casual. "Don't lie to me." She sat up, clutching the blanket. "I ran into him, that's all. He's going through some stuff. I was just being a friend." That word again. Friend. "You've met with him 3 times this week," I said, voice steady. "Always at night, always behind my back." Her eyes darted, filling with tears. "Mark, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to get messy. I thought I could help him and still be here for us." She stood, wrapped her arms around me. "I love you. I'll cut it off. I'll block him. I swear." I nodded slowly, not because I believed her, but because I needed to see what she'd do next. For 2 days, Ashley was perfect, overly perfect, cooking dinners, leaving notes, telling me I was the best thing that ever happened to her. It was exhausting because I knew it was a performance. She wasn't sorry. She was scrambling to keep control. On the 3rd night, she said she needed air, needed space to think. I smiled. "Of course, take your time." 10 minutes later, I followed. Same routine, same parking lot, same man. But this time, it wasn't just a hug. It was a kiss. Not polite, not guilty, a real kiss. Her arms around his neck, his hands on her waist. I watched from across the street, silent, steady. Then I raised my phone and took the photo. My proof. Cold, clear, undeniable. When she came home hours later, I was on the couch scrolling through old photos of us. She walked in, smiling. "Sorry I'm late. Lauren and I drove out to see some last-minute rental options." I looked up, met her eyes. For the first time, she seemed to feel it, that she'd already lost me. But she kept lying. I nodded, smiled even. Because the wedding was tomorrow. And she had no idea what was coming. That night I didn't sleep. 3 years of laughter, trips and plans, gone for a man she swore was in her past. I wasn't perfect, but I'd never lied, never betrayed her, never made her doubt she was chosen. This wasn't going to end quietly, not behind closed doors. She chose the shadows. I would speak the truth in the light. The next morning, Ashley was glowing. Adjusting her dress in the mirror, she turned to me, beaming. "Can you believe it? Today's the day." I smiled back. "Yeah, it really is." She didn't hear the edge in my voice, didn't notice my eyes weren't smiling. She was too caught up in her fairy tale. The makeup artist arrived. Her bridesmaids toasted champagne. Her dad gave me the welcome to the family speech. I played along one last time. When we arrived at the venue, everything looked perfect. Flowers in bloom, lake shimmering in the afternoon sun, rows of smiling guests. I stood at the altar, hands steady, waiting. Jake leaned in, eyes searching mine. "You okay?" he whispered. I nodded, no turning back. Then the music began. Ashley appeared at the end of the aisle, glowing, radiant, smiling like her fairy tale had finally come true. She had no idea her perfect day was about to collapse in front of everyone she loved. As she walked toward me, I didn't see a bride. I saw a liar. Every step, every smile, every flower in her hands. It was all a performance, and I wasn't going to be her final act. My heart didn't race, my hands didn't shake. I was calm, too calm, because I knew exactly what I was about to do. The officiant welcomed everyone with that warm, rehearsed voice. Guests leaned forward, cameras flashed, the lake shimmered behind us. Ashley reached the altar and slipped her hand into mine. Her touch felt like glass, cold, fragile, breakable. She looked up at me, eyes bright with joy. She thought she'd won. She had no clue. Earlier that morning, I'd told Jake everything. "I'm not marrying her," I said, "but I am telling the truth." He asked if I wanted backup. I told him no, just stand there and don't look away. And now there he was in the front row, steady, watching. The officiant turned to me. Mark, do you take this woman, Ashley, to be your lawfully wedded wife? Time slowed. Ashley smiled, soft and certain. She expected I do. Instead, I said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Gasps rippled through the crowd, whispers, stunned silence. Ashley's face froze, then cracked. What? She mouthed. I turned to the guests, my voice clear, steady. This wedding can't happen, not because I don't believe in love, I do, but because the person standing next to me hasn't been honest. Chairs creaked, a murmur swept the rows. Ashley grabbed at my arm. Mark, please don't do this. I pulled back gently. You've been seeing your ex, sneaking out, lying, telling me it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Her father looked gutted. A bridesmaid covered her mouth. I reached into my pocket and held up the photo I'd printed that morning. Ashley in Brad's arms, her lips on his. Undeniable. The air cracked with gasps. I'm not saying this to embarrass you, I said. I'm saying it because I deserve better, and everyone here deserves the truth. Ashley's bouquet slipped from her hands. Tears streaked her face. Please, I made a mistake. Don't throw us away. I shook my head. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice, again and again. I don't even know who you are anymore. I turned to the officiant. I'm sorry for wasting your time. And then I walked away. The silence behind me was deafening. No music, no applause, just shock. Rows of faces frozen as I passed. Parents, friends, family, all staring. I didn't look back. Outside, the sun was still shining, and for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. Jake was waiting near the exit. He handed me my jacket. No words, just a nod. That was enough. We drove off in silence. Eventually, he said, "That was brutal, but you did it." I nodded. I had to. At least now everyone knows the truth. That night, we sat on my balcony with a six-pack, letting the wind carry the silence. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. The next morning, my phone lit up. 40 missed calls, Ashley, her mum, bridesmaids, even Brad. I didn't answer a single one. There was nothing left to say. The morning after, I brewed coffee, sat by the window, and watched the city move on without me. Cars honked, people hurried. Life didn't pause just because mine had shattered. And in that stillness, I let go. Of the wedding, the betrayal, the illusion. I didn't cry, I didn't rage, I just breathed. Sometimes that's the bravest thing you can do. Ashley came to my door that evening. No makeup, swollen eyes, hair tied in a messy knot. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Mark, can we talk?" I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I let her speak. She apologized, said she regretted everything, claimed she didn't know why she did it. "I never meant to hurt you, but here's the truth. You don't have to mean it to destroy something. You just have to do it," she begged. "I'll block him. I'll go to therapy. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance." I listened, not because I was considering it, but because closure matters. When she was done, I said quietly, "This isn't about Brad. It's about trust. And you broke it completely." Her tears came harder. "But I love you." I nodded. "I believe you, but love doesn't look like this." Then I closed the door, gently, finally. The days after the wedding were strange. Rumors spread, people picked sides. Some blamed me, others defended me. I didn't care. For the first time in months, I had peace. Jake checked in every day. So did my mom. Even Lauren, the bridesmaid, called. I suspected something, but I never knew how bad it was. "I'm so sorry, Mark. She fooled all of us." I thanked her, but I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Brad disappeared like I knew he would. Ghosted Ashley, blocked her, vanished. He'd gotten what he came for. Attention, chaos, control. Ashley tried reaching me again, emails, notes, mutual friends, sometimes apologizing, sometimes blaming. "You embarrassed me. You overreacted. You ruined everything." But she was wrong. I didn't ruin anything. She did. Weeks passed. I slipped back into routine. Work, gym, runs by the lake, simple things. The wedding deposit was gone, non-refundable. I didn't fight it. Some things you just let go. One night I found the old wedding playlist on my phone. I played it, not to feel sad, but to remind myself how far I'd come, and how far I refused to fall again. People asked if I regretted exposing her publicly. The answer was no, because silence protects liars. And the truth sets you free. I didn't do it to hurt her. I did it to reclaim myself, my worth, my voice. If I hadn't spoken, I'd have spent a lifetime wondering, what if I just said it? But I did. Loud, clear, final. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Sometimes the strongest closure is the one you give yourself. I didn't need Ashley to understand me. I needed me to understand me. And now I do. I know what love is. And more importantly, what it isn't. Last I heard, Ashley left Austin. Brad disappeared back into whatever shadow he came from. And me, I'm still here, stronger, quieter, clearer about what I will and won't allow into my life. I don't need revenge. I don't need validation. I have peace. And that's everything. If you've ever been lied to, gaslit, made to feel crazy for asking simple questions, let me be clear, you weren't. And you're not weak for walking away. You're brave. I used to think the worst day of my life was when I was left in the dark. But I was wrong. The worst day was when I believed I had to stay silent. And I didn't. Neither should you. Walk away, reclaim your name, protect your peace, and never apologize for it.